This is an edited recording of a live Zoom event. It was held on April 8th, 2025. Hosted by Sacramento City College Global Studies Program and Makerspace and the Solar Education Project. The Zoom runs just under 48 minutes.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Riyad Bahour, and I teach Global Studies at Sacramento City College, and we're one of the partners in the Global Makers series, along with our Makerspace and Solar Education Project with Mary Buchenik, Jennifer Gasser, and Grace Chepkeme, who's joining us from Kenya. So on behalf of all of us, we wanted to welcome you to Global Makers. Before I introduce Matteo, I wanted to say that we're also happy to have a classroom with students, Anastasia Fotis, Montessori Visions Academy classroom from Las Vegas. These are middle and high school students, some of whom have built and used their own solar cooker. They're with us today on camera, so we'll be able to see them and talk to them. They have some questions for us and for Matteo in a little bit. And then also, because we'll be having consecutive interpretation, things will take a little bit longer. So we're going to make sure to keep enough time for discussion afterwards. And we're lucky today, we're going to be hearing a lot of Italian, which is a beautiful language, and we're happy to have it in the space. Matteo Muccioli is an engineer and oven designer at Studio Muma Lab in Italy. And he's going to discuss with us the Kimono Solar Cooker that he designed and that he cooks beautiful tarts and cakes in. If you follow him on social media, you're familiar with the beautiful creations that he makes that look really delicious. I wish we could serve you some here today. He'll talk about from thought to reality, engineering, design, and action, and also we'll get to ask him about his research and collaboration. Before we dive right in with Matteo, we wanted to show a shortened version of a video about him and the Kimono Solar Cooker, just to give you a little bit of a taste of his work.
Ciao a tutti, mi chiamo Matteo Muccioli e vivo in una piccola città dell'Emilia-Romagna di nome Rimini. In questi ultimi anni di ricerca e sviluppo nel mondo dei forni solari e delle cucine solari sono avvenute alcune cose veramente interessanti e meravigliose. Prima fra tutte è la nascita di una rete locale di fornellisti solari, grazie alla collaborazione con l'Associazione Astronomica del Rubicone, di cui faccio parte. Altra cosa incredibile e meravigliosa al tempo stesso è successa 2 anni fa, quando il Politecnico delle Marche, nella persona del professor Giovanni Di Nicola, mi ha contattato chiedendomi la possibilità di poter studiare i miei forni solari, in particolar modo il Newton Solar Oven e il Kimono Solar Cooker. Iniziamo adesso la costruzione del Kimono Solar Cooker. Per costruire questo forno avrete bisogno del seguente materiale. Iniziamo adesso la costruzione del Kimono Solar Cooker. Per prima cosa andiamo a rivestire di materiale riflettente i nostri pannelli di cartone. Ecco, questo è il primo foglio di materiale riflettente. Ora vado a ripetere l'operazione su tutti gli altri fogli. Andiamo adesso a forare con l'utilizzo di un cacciavite tutti i punti che abbiamo indicato. Partiamo dalla schiena. Andiamo a forare con il cacciavite ruotando direttamente dalla parte del riflettente e realizzando un foro passante. Eseguiamo i fori per tutti gli altri punti. Bene, per assemblare il tutto utilizziamo, come vi dicevo, delle fascette elettriche. Ora andiamo a unire le parti che compongono il kimono e le andiamo a ripiegare in questo modo. A questo punto andiamo ad inserire le fascette elettriche in maniera tale da cucire le parti tra di loro. Andiamo a chiudere Manteniamo un dito come distanza tra l'anello e il bordo per permettere di aprire lo specchio. A questo punto ho realizzato e completato la parte principale del kimono. Bene, eccoci qui. Sono passate adesso 1 ora e 40 minuti dall'inizio della cottura. Il cielo per fortuna si è completamente liberato e adesso andiamo a vedere come si presenta la torta. Si è formata un po' di condensa sul coperchio, cosa normalissima. Andiamo ad aprire il tutto.
That was great. So now we're all hungry, um, and very excited to have you, Matteo and Pamela, with us. And maybe just by way of starting, you could tell us a little bit about your personal story, what attracted you to solar and clean cooking, and your journey to the Kimono Solar Cooker, right? What's the story of that particular design and cooker?
Hello to everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you. Sorry, but I don't speak English well, and Pamela.
I will translate for him.
Exactly. Io da sempre sono stato interessato
I've always
all'energia
been
solare
interested in solar energy,
e al termine dei miei studi
and at the end of my school career,
ho deciso di cominciare a
I
studiare
decided to start to study
la concentrazione solare.
the solar concentration.
E inizialmente ho sviluppato
At first, I developed
dei progetti di
some
concentrazione
projects about solar concentration
per la produzione di energia elettrica e vapore.
to produce electrical energy and
Steam power.
and steam power.
For home use. Però i progetti che ho iniziato sono alla fine terminati in nulla di fatto. Cioè,
But then this project didn't have a conclusion.
ho incontrato i forni solari per la prima volta nel 2012,
In 2012, I met for the first time solar cookers,
ma all'inizio non mi hanno interessato più di
but at
tanto.
first I wasn't particularly interested.
E quindi mi sono concentrato su un'altra mia grande
So I
passione,
focused on another passion of mine,
che è l'astronomia,
that is astronomy,
e ho deciso di costruire un
and
telescopio.
I decided to build a telescope.
Tra l'altro tutta la lavorazione l'ho postata su YouTube.
And I posted all the process of building a telescope on YouTube.
E nel 2015 un mio collega,
In 2015, a colleague of mine
vedendo i miei concentratori solari,
so my solar concentrators,
mi tirò fuori nuovamente la questione dei forni solari.
and again talked to me about solar cooking.
E a quel punto ho deciso di cominciare a studiare un po' l'argomento.
Then I decided to start to study this topic.
E per fare alcune prove ho modificato uno dei miei concentratori
And
solari
I've modified one of my solar concentrator,
e realizzando il primo forno solare, il Kimono Solar Cooker.
and I realized my first solar cooker that I called Muma Solar Cooker.
E successivamente
Later,
ho costruito diversi modelli di forni solari
I built different kind of solar ovens
che avevo visto sulla pagina Solar Cooker International.
that I saw on the international on the Facebook page.
Yes,
On the Facebook page of the society.
Solar Cooker International internet page. E in particolar modo l'FT2
In particular the FT2 and
il Copenhagen Solar Cooker.
And the Copenhagen Solar Cooker.
E li ho utilizzati per circa un anno.
I've used them for 1 year.
E li ho studiati approfonditamente e usati anche in laboratori scolastici.
And I've studied them and used them in some scholar workshop.
E finché nel 2018
in 2018
un mio amico,
a friend of mine,
Matteo
Munaretto,
mi contattò per coinvolgermi in un progetto.
He wanted to involve me in a project.
Aveva in mente di costruire una barca fatta di bottiglie di
He wanted to build a boat with plastic bottles
e navigare da Rimini a
and
Venezia
sail from Rimini to Venice
per sensibilizzare in merito
to raise awareness
all'inquinamento da
about
plastica in mare.
plastic sea pollution.
e mi chiese di costruirgli un
And he
forno
asked me
solare
to design a solar cooker
da usare nella barca.
for the sailing trip.
E io contattai immediatamente una mia
I
amica,
called a friend of mine,
Francesca Perazzini,
Francesca Perazzini.
che è un
She's
architetto,
an architect.
e con la quale in pratica iniziamo a sviluppare
And
questo
we
progetto,
started to think about this project,
e in particolar modo come questo forno doveva comportarsi
and
sulla barca.
particularly how this oven had to work on a boat, on a small boat.
E abbiamo studiato a tal punto che siamo diventati esperti di navigazione.
We studied so much that we became experts on nautical science and sailing.
E, la cosa che ci mancava però e che non riuscivamo a risolvere
We had a problem we couldn't solve.
era il rapporto fra le dimensioni del forno e la capacità di carico.
It was the size ratio between the load capacity of the solar oven
E le dimensioni.
and the size, the global size of everything.
I conti non tornavano mai,
Yeah.
e,
Calculation were always wrong,
e soprattutto ci trovavamo in inverno, la stagione peggiore dove poter fare
and
dei
we
test.
were doing this project during winter, so we couldn't do that many experiments.
Il progetto è rimasto in sospeso circa 2 mesi,
Yeah, so the project remained pending for a couple of months,
finché una notte, a causa del pianto continuo di mio figlio piccolo,
until one night my youngest child was crying, so I was sleepless.
decisi di mettermi a ragionare nuovamente
I
sul
decided to
forno
start
solare.
again to think about this solar cooker for the boat.
E capii che avevo bisogno di costruire prima di tutto una calcolatrice solare che mi permettesse di fare i calcoli.
I realized that first I had to build a solar calculator.
Yes.
Una calcolatrice solare.
Una calcolatrice solare, sì.
A solar calculator.
Che mi permettesse di capire quanto doveva essere grande il forno in funzione
so
del
that
ricevitore.
I could understand how big the oven had to be compared to the
Il ricevitore.
to the receiver.
E così è nato il Kimono.
And so in this way, Kimono was born.
So we have your youngest child to thank.
In
Yes.
qualche senso sì.
And interesting for the students who are here, the role of problems in learning, right? Like the driving force of a problem will lead you to a solution. Anastasia, you said that some of your students had created their own solar oven and maybe have some questions for Matteo. Maybe we could kind of dive in with you and your students.
Okay, sounds good. Let me pull a couple of them up. Tyler, do you want to come up? Sure. I appreciate the opportunity here to talk about this.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi. So I built Mia, and along with Eric and Nathan, built that. This was gonna bring in a second. Here it is.
So what we have is the solar cooker. What we have is the solar cooker.
Good job.
Good job, very good job.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it's kind of cloudy today, so we're gonna try it some other time. But yeah, the video helped a lot. Thanks.
You're welcome. What have you tried it at all on a sunny day yet, or not yet?
We haven't yet.
We just built it today.
They
You just
finished it
today.
this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been working on it.
What are you planning to cook in it?
Probably in the afternoon when it's sunny.
Well, what are we gonna cook though?
Oh, like what's shown in the video? Thai.
Oh, pie. Okay. So do you have any questions for Matteo? Maybe he can give you some advice on how to cook a pie in there since he's cooked so many of them.
How to make a pie? Are you-
I think that'll take too long, but if we had time, yes. What is the max temperature the solar cooker can reach, Matteo?
Good question.
Allora, quel modello lì,
That model
realizzato con carta riflettente,
that made with recycled material.
generalmente tra i 140 e i 160 gradi Celsius.
Okay, it's in Celsius degrees. It's 140, 150. There should be 200 and something Fahrenheit, I think.
280, 284, Sean.
That's about the highest I've been able to get in mine is about 275.
Guarda, ce l'ho qui.
284
Mhm.
Fahrenheit.
All right.
Sì.
And that should be enough to cook a torte?
Ed è abbastanza per cuocere una torta?
Sì,
Yes.
per cuocere in
Perfect.
generale è sufficiente che la temperatura a vuoto superi i 120 gradi
Okay.
Celsius.
To cook in general, it's necessary that the temperature when the receiver is empty reaches the 248 Fahrenheit degrees.
Mhm.
Okay.
Generalmente,
So that's the minimum.
yes, generalmente la temperatura che si considera sempre di cottura, la fascia termica, è fra i 120 e i 160 gradi Celsius.
The cooking range usually it's considered between 248 degrees Fahrenheit degrees and 320 Fahrenheit degrees. That's the
Okay.
range.
That's good to know. One of the questions came up was, does it have to be hot or just bright outside? And
Cioè, deve essere il sole pieno. O...
Se c'è il sole pieno funziona meglio, e se il cielo è velato funziona lo stesso.
Okay. If it's sunny, it's better. If it's partly cloudy, it works, but it takes longer. Ci vuole più tempo.
Ci vuole più tempo. La differenza la fa il tipo di riflettente che si
It
utilizza.
depends even on the kind of reflective material you use. So like with glasses, it's more performing.
Yes.
But
Mhm. What if it's sunny but cold?
sì, esatto, soleggiato ma un po' coperto.
Va bene, sì, yes.
It still work.
okay. In the construction, there was a question that came up about which side of the foil is better. And we can see here that there is a shinier side and then there is the dull side. Is there a
Yes.
preference?
Yes, there is a difference. It's the brighter side is better because it reflects better the sunlight.
All right. Any construction questions you guys have?
Not really.
Not really. They really appreciated the video and they were going back and forth and listening and paying attention. And I think they did a fantastic job building their cooker.
I'm here.
And we have some other questions. Philip, you want to step up?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Can it cook a steak?
La ciccia?
Sì?
Yes.
Sì.
Yes, you can. Quanto tempo ci vuole?
Dipende dalla quantità di carne che metti.
It depends on how much meat you, how big is the stick. The longer, I mean, the bigger the stick, the longer the time to cook, but you can cook it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Philip. I have Mikhail here also.
Hi.
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 Nice to meet you.
This is a question that my group came up with. How many people in the world use solar cookers?
Quante persone?
Like an approximate.
Più o meno.
About 15 millions. About.
15 million?
About 15.
Okay.
Quante persone usano? Circa 15 milioni.
Oh, yes, 15 millions. Yes.
About 15 million. Distribuite molto sulla superficie. Concentrate più che altro nelle zone dove c'è molto.
There are more people in the places where the sun is hotter. But yes, all over, yes, all over the world, but especially in certain areas.
È un dato presente anche sulla pagina della Solar Cooker International.
Even on the Solar Cooker International page, you can find this kind of information. They show you where they are distributed.
I have one more question from a group that asked if anyone knows about solar cookers being used to make electricity, not just being used to cook with.
Allora, sì, si può provare a farlo, ma ci vuole un sistema di conversione molto complesso da realizzare.
Okay. It is possible, but you need a conversion system really complex. Possible, but it's really advanced technology.
Quello che si usa solitamente se si vuol fare una cosa del genere sono motori Stirling.
Usually to do that, you should use a Stirling motor.
Oppure si può provare a utilizzare le celle di Peltier.
Or Peltier cells.
Ma ma sono dispositivi che non si riescono a realizzare homemade.
But there are devices that you have to buy, you can't build them. So they're not homemade.
Forse i motori di Stirling, però è molto complesso per un ragazzo farlo.
It's really complex kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks, Anastasia, and your students. And if you have any more questions or if anything comes up, just feel free to raise your hand or put them in the chat. Everyone is welcome to do that. I have a question while folks are thinking of their questions, maybe you're writing them in the chat. Matteo, the issue has come up before in these discussions about interest and people adopting solar cookers, and maybe there's some challenges to get people to adopt solar cooking, even in places where there might be a shortage of other fuels where it would make sense to. And you mentioned that you at first weren't interested in solar cooking. It took a few times to get you interested. What do you think the obstacles in your case, or even in general, to people grasping the value of solar cooking? Like, why do people hesitate, and what can we do about it?
Ma allora, nel mio caso, io ho avuto bisogno di capire prima di tutto tecnicamente la fattibilità di questa tecnologia.
In my case, I first had to understand if this technology was suitable and doable for me.
Cioè, da ingegnere avevo bisogno di capire
Since I'm an engineer, I need to understand.
Esatto, e avevo bisogno di capire soprattutto che cosa riuscivano veramente a cucinare queste cose.
And even the factibility of what you can really cook with this technology.
E una volta che ho fatto tutti i miei esperimenti, mi sono accorto di quanto quanto questa tecnologia può essere davvero d'aiuto.
And once I've done all my experiments, I've realized how this technology can really be helpful.
Ci sono diverse problematiche però in merito alla penetrazione di questa tecnologia a livello mondiale.
But there are some problems for like spreading this awareness all over the world.
E dipendono molto dalla società in cui vengono proposte queste tecnologie.
A lot depends on in which society you show this kind of technology.
In primo luogo, da come la società in cui proponi questa tecnologia è abituata a vedere il cibo.
Especially it's a problem on how society consider food.
E soprattutto in base alla disponibilità di cibo e di energia che le varie società hanno.
And even on a base of how much food resources this society has.
E altra cosa fondamentale è come le persone sono abituate a cucinare.
And another problem is how people are used to cook.
E nel nostro caso, in Italia, per esempio, a causa dei turni di lavoro che noi abbiamo, generalmente cuciniamo all'ultimo momento.
Yeah, like in Italy, for example, we have a quite hectic work schedule. So you just cook at the like last minute. So you don't have time to prepare in advance. Like solar cooking needs time and like thinking before doing. And so
Esatto. La domanda fondamentale che mi sento sempre fare quando faccio eventi pubblici è in quanto tempo si cucina.
it's like one of the first questions that I'm asked when I do like public events is how much time it takes to cook.
E invece dico sempre che la domanda giusta da fare sarebbe qual è la qualità della cottura.
And I reverse the question and ask how much is important the quality of the food you eat.
Quando qualcuno assaggia per la prima volta una torta, una crostata cucinata con il sole, rimane sempre a bocca aperta, un po' per mangiare, un po' perché non si aspetta che il cibo abbia quel sapore.
Yeah. When someone first tastes something cooked with a solar oven, is like we have an expression in Italian, it's like is with the mouth agape, not only because he's eating, but even because he's surprised positively by the taste, because they don't believe that it can taste like a normal food.
Ma quando si rendono conto che comunque la cottura va organizzata e non può essere realizzata all'ultimo momento, lì viene sempre fatto un passo indietro.
Yeah. The motivation starts when they understand that, okay, the food is good, but you have to think ahead and have time to do that.
Negli ultimi anni, una delle argomentazioni che invece sta facendo sempre più presa, quando si parla di forni solari, è la questione del calore.
Another question in the last years that arose, it's a question about heat.
Sì. La cottura solare, la cucina solare mantiene il calore fuori dalle abitazioni.
Like the solar cooking keeps the heat outside the household.
Durante l'estate le temperature che noi raggiungiamo qui sono molto elevate.
Like during the summer, it's really hot.
E quindi cucinare all'esterno della casa ci permette di doverla raffrescare di meno.
So if you cook outside, you don't add heat inside the house, so you don't have to cool it down.
E questo accende moltissimo l'interesse delle persone.
And that's an interesting point for people.
A differenza, cioè, fondamentalmente, invece che essere interessate inizialmente sul cibo,
So at first they're not interested in food, but on energy saving, basically.
Exactly.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. You mentioned before the meeting started that in July there's a National Solar Cooking Day in Italy. There's a National Solar Cooker Association, and people come out and cook. How many people participate in that? What does that event look like? And then I think Anastasia wanted to chime in on some ideas as well.
Al momento l'abbiamo deciso ieri sera durante la riunione dell'associazione.
Okay. They decided for this event in the last couple of days, and so they are now spreading the news for this event. Quante persone sperate di avere?
Oh, so this will be the first time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Great.
E lo renderemo pubblico alla prossima riunione che faremo nel giro di 2 settimane e poi vedremo quante persone parteciperanno.
So they're not sure about how many people will join, but
well, we're looking forward to finding out after July then. Anastasia, you mentioned in the chat that you have some ideas for spreading interest, and I see there's some other things in the chat too, so I'll read those while you're speaking.
Okay, thank you. I just love the events that people put together out in a park somewhere. That was my first introduction at William Lamb Park across the street from Sac City College. In the 80s, I went to an event and bought my first solar cooker back then. So I just think just spreading the word that way and having a lot of different ways in which the solar cookers are used, just for people to see and raise awareness that way. The other way that I've really been trying to incorporate is to have it as a checkout item at a library. And Mary, you and I have talked about this quite a bit in the past, and I'm still working on our library here, being willing to offer that as a checkout item. And we'll see what happens with it. Thank you.
Yeah. Great ideas, because I think it's a mystery to people unless they actually see it. So doing it in public is a good idea. Ashish put a comment that's also very interesting and has to do with different ways people cook and eat, right? Having one pot versus a pot that can cook several different dishes, right? In many parts of the world, you don't have one main dish, you have several small dishes, and so that could be discouraging if you can't eat the way you're used to eating. And Sean is writing, has it changed your recipes and your diet? Ashish answered that, but I don't know if Matteo wants to answer that as well. I mean, I guess part of that question could be, why are you focused so much on desserts? Do you cook anything other than desserts in it? Or is there a reason that you prefer to cook?
Che fai più dolci che il resto?
Sì, c'è un motivo.
Yes, there is a reason.
Uso il forno solare tra le 200 e le 220 volte all'anno.
Okay, he uses the solar cooker between 200 and 220 times per year.
E la maggior parte delle volte che lo utilizzo è per scaldare cibo già cucinato.
Often I use it to reheat already cooked food.
E generalmente cucino fra le 50 e le 70 torte crostate all'anno.
And usually he cooks like between 50 and 70 pies per year.
Una parte la mangiamo per colazione.
Okay. Many of them are eaten for like breakfast.
Una
for the family.
Una parte mi viene commissionata.
And a part is like he does them for other people. They order to him this kind of
Quindi
pies.
Ecco, io però ne mangio una piccolissima parte perché alla fine la finiscono prima tutti i miei figli.
Yes, but Matteo just eats a small part because his children and his wife eats the majority of it. Yes.
So you become famous for these pies, and they're in high demand, which kind of leads us to another question. which is the business angle of solar cookers. You designed the Kimono cooker, you shared your design with other people so that they can make it. But do you also sell the cooker? Is there an entrepreneurial component to it?
Vendi anche
No, al momento no.
No, he's not selling the cookers.
E sviluppo per la maggior parte delle geometrie open.
It develops open geometries, but it doesn't sell the cookers.
Sì, ho tutelato solo una geometria
I put a copyright just on one thing.
che è il Kimono Trio e il Butterfly.
It's a Kimono Trio, one of the ovens, and the Butterfly.
I quali sto cercando di metterli in produzione.
And he's tried to put in production these two kinds of ovens, but all the others are open.
Yes. Anche il Trillium, l'ultimo, sarà open.
Even the last one that he projected, it is called Trillium, it would be an open product.
Appena avrò finito tutti i test, divulgherò
Perché vuoi fare open? Per
permettere a tutti di
And they
costruire.
are open and not like under trademark or under copyright, because he wants that everyone can use it and freely.
E tutti possono costruirlo col materiale
And
che
that everyone
che possono trovare,
can build them with the material that you can have at home.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Back to the chat, Sharon wrote, I guess still on the theme of how do you cook. There are at least 15 solar cooking recipe books written by members of the Solar Cookers World Network. And she's asking Paul if he has a link. And then
Riyadh?
yes.
I'm going to share also that if you look at our YouTube video on Solar Education Project, there's a link to the cookbook that was put out by the Astronomical Association that Matteo is a part of. So in the description, you can find the cookbook. You can watch his full video, which is about 17 minutes. That information is there also.
Okay, thank you.
And I put the link in the chat.
Great. I see the link. I see also Paul put a link for cookbooks, and Sharon is asking Matteo if he's put any of his designs on instructables.com.
No, he didn't.
Uso principalmente YouTube e Facebook.
He usually use Facebook and YouTube.
Great. Any other observations or questions, comments for Matteo? Mary.
Are we on?
Yes, we're on.
Hi, Matteo. I was curious to know where you're headed. What are the next steps for you for solar cooking? Are you looking at other iterations of ovens, or what are your plans?
Ho cominciato a studiare dei sistemi di inseguimento solare.
Okay, I've started. He started to study some
Solar tracker.
Systems.
Non però sistemi elettrici,
Not electrical systems.
ma sistemi che possano inseguire il sole off-grid.
Yeah, systems that can track the sun off-grid.
Sono nella prima fase di studio.
I'm still at the beginning of this study.
Ho cominciato a realizzare qualche schema tecnico.
I've just done some technical spreadsheets.
E adesso dovrò cominciare a costruire il primo prototipo.
And then I will have to build the first prototype.
Però lo divulgherò solo se funzionerà.
But I will publish it only if it works.
I just wanted to say, Matteo, congratulations on how far you have come in your studies on the solar cooker. It impresses me.
Detto da te è un onore, Sharon.
Told by you, it's a great honor, Sharon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because Sharon has been a great inspiration for his path in solar cooking.
Ho iniziato studiando il suo forno.
Yeah, he started studying your oven. So
l'ho smontato e rimontato 1000 volte.
Yeah, he built it and destroyed and rebuilt it so many times.
Ho fatto le radiografie.
Yes.
I really appreciate that I could help you go on your journey to discovering your own solar cooker or designing your own solar cooker. So it's been a fun ride.
Una bella cosa.
Il suo forno è penso che sia uno dei forni più performanti che esistano.
He thinks that like your oven is one of the most performing ovens ever built.
E ogni volta che penso a un forno, a un'opera d'arte nei forni solari, penso
every time he thinks about piece of art in the solar cooking world, he thinks about the Copenhagen oven.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, thank you so much.
I think Ashish also has a question. Ask your question, or should I read it? You can unmute and ask if you like.
I would like to ask if there are readily cheaper options for the glass enclosure which are used in the solar cooker to have the greenhouse effect so that the cooking is faster.
Pamela's translating your question to Matteo and he's about to answer.
Sì, esistono delle soluzioni più economiche e sono i sacchetti di plastica per la cottura in forno.
Okay, yes, there is. It's a like plastic bag for the cooking in the ovens.
Però io sono contrario all'utilizzo di questi dispositivi.
But I'm against this kind of devices.
Semplicemente perché si produce comunque alla fine un inquinamento da plastica.
Because at the end you produce like plastic pollution.
And then I think Paul just also put a link to the wiki that talks about glazing enclosures to use with solar cookers. Mary.
A question for you, Matteo. In the longer video, you talk about how solar cooking allows us to connect many parts of human thought, which I think is really a profound statement. And you mentioned material science, physics, chemistry, thermodynamics, architecture, agricultural sciences, food sciences, and medicine as being something you can learn about, human knowledge, just by studying solar cooking. So could you talk about how you came to that understanding? Because we are of the same thought in Solar Education Project. And I'd like to hear a little bit more about that from you, please.
Sì, questo è un aspetto che mi hanno fatto notare nel tempo le persone che vedevano i miei progetti.
Yeah, that's a thing that people I was showing my project to made me notice in time.
E persone esperte di scienze dei materiali mi ponevano domande in merito alla tipologia di materiali che stessi utilizzando.
Like people experts in material science asked me question about their domain.
Amici architetti o comunque progettisti come me mi ponevano domande in merito all'architettura del forno solare.
The friends that were architects, they asked me questions about the architectural part of this project.
Altri amici e colleghi mi facevano domande in merito alla potenza massima raggiungibile dal forno.
Some colleagues asked about the maximum power that the device can reach.
E le possibilità di utilizzarlo anche in campi diversi, come hanno chiesto loro.
Yes, or the chance to use them in different fields, like the guys asked if it could be used for electrical purposes.
Amici esperti di cucina mi facevano domande in merito alla tipologia, a cosa avvenisse realmente all'interno del forno durante la cottura solare.
Yeah. Some food experts asked me what happened physically to the food during the solar cooking.
E amici chimici mi ponevano domande in merito al rapporto fra la lievitazione, per esempio, e la potenza solare.
No, lievitazione.
Lievitazione.
And some of the friends that are specialized in chemistry asked me about the relationship between
la potenza solare e la lievitazione.
Yeah, like the solar power and the just a second.
Food increase?
Yes, no, it's not food increase. It's
cosa avveniva all'interno del cibo durante
it's basically what happened physically inside all the chemical processes that the food undergoes.
E anche persone che lavorano nel campo dell'agricoltura mi ponevano domande in merito alla possibilità di utilizzarlo come essiccatore.
And some people in the agriculture field asking me about the chances to use it for as a dryer.
E quindi tutte queste domande alla fine mi hanno fatto capire che il forno solare è proprio una sorta di hub.
Yeah, so at the end, all these questions coming from friends and colleagues and people interested in my work made me realize that the solar cooking is a kind of hub for all these different disciplines.
E in tutta la mia carriera e anche confrontandomi con amici non ho trovato nessun dispositivo come un forno solare in grado di collegare tra loro così tanti campi del sapere.
And in my working career, I've never met another kind of device that like the solar oven or solar cooker can like collect all these different domains.
Infatti, quando parlo ad oggi del forno solare o dei forni solari, porto sempre con me una slide in cui faccio vedere il forno solare al centro e tutto quello che il forno solare va a toccare.
When I go to workshops or events, I always show a slide on a presentation where there is a solar oven in the middle, and then all the other
Campi da sapere.
like other fields all around,
E ognuno,
and they are all connected.
E ognuno dei partecipanti trova sempre un argomento che gli può interessare.
And every people that attends to these events can find one topic that can relate to and go back from that topic to the solar cooker.
That's great. And I wanted to see if Grace, who is one of the Solar Sisters, along with Mary and Jennifer, Solar Education Project. Grace, do you have any questions or comments?
Oh, okay. Thank you for having me. I really don't have a question, but I would really want to appreciate Matteo. The cooker is amazing. The food he cooks is amazing. And we are looking forward at making his solar cooker so that is one of our collections. We really appreciate St. Joseph, my group in Kenya, are really interested in, they have learned a lot about Matteo, and hearing him talk and hearing him demonstrate, seeing him demonstrate is really great, because at least we meet him physically and virtually, but we're really going to try to make his cooker. I like the ideas of spreading about solar cooking. We have a lot of sunshine in Africa, and we really want to spread the word of solar cooking. And it's good to know that we can spread them through events, we can spread them through schools, we can spread them even through functions. It will be very helpful to the people of Kenya, and especially the African continent. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And speaking of Kenya, our last featured global maker, Didicus Odhiambo, is here with us today, and he just posted a question in the chat, a very practical question. Roughly, what is the cost of making the solar cooker?
Purtroppo questa domanda va attualizzata in base al paese dove la fai.
Well, first, it depends on the nation you are building your solar cooker.
E in base ai materiali che riesci a
and
trovare.
on the material that you can collect.
E qui in Italia, in base al materiale di recupero,
Like in Italy, with the recycled material,
si può arrivare a far costare 0 euro.
It can be like close to zero.
Però abbiamo disponibilità di tutto il materiale che vogliamo, fondamentalmente.
But if you want to enhance our oven, we can like buy some materials, like not using foiling paper from chips bag, but using like glass. Then you have to pay for it. So it depends on which kind of material you have and you can use for that.
Quello di recupero che ci trova. Facciamo un esempio, il kimono di cartone costa 0 euro.
Like for example, the kimono, like even the Montessori school build, it should be at around zero cost, because it's made with cardboards and reflective paper that you can find like on like chips bag or similar.
Quello in alluminio.
The one that, but if you use aluminium, for example,
ad oggi costa 150 euro.
It can arrive to cost like 150 euros. So it all depends on the material you have, and you can gather.
E a questo bisogna aggiungere il ricevitore, perché il forno solare è un sistema.
Yeah, and probably the most expensive thing is the receiver, because like the kimono is a cooker, but you need a receiver to cook.
So, e quindi se non hai la capsula di vetro e devi comprare tutto, il tutto può costarti anche 30 euro solo di capsula di vetro.
So for example, the glass part in Italy costs around like 30 euros. So that you have to buy it, obviously.
All right. Anastasia, you look like one of your students might have a question.
Did somebody have something? Well, is it what? The discussion was about safety in using the solar cooker.
That's a great question, actually, yeah. Matteo, do you want to address the safety issue?
Sì, esistono due discorsi da fare sulla sicurezza.
There are two different approach.
Il primo è la sicurezza dell'operatore
So first is the safety of the operator,
e la seconda è la sicurezza alimentare.
and the other part is the safety, like the food safety.
Per quello che riguarda la sicurezza dell'operatore,
As for the operator,
è necessario usare sempre occhiali da sole
you have to use like sunglasses because you have reflective surfaces,
e usare sempre guanti da cucina o presine da
and
cucina.
mittens, oven mittens.
Per quello che riguarda invece la sicurezza alimentare,
For the food safety,
è fondamentale utilizzare dei termometri con sonda.
you need to use like an oven thermometers that you can pull into the food to see the temperature.
Per tenere sempre sotto controllo la temperatura di cottura.
Yes, so you can always check the cooking temperature.
Esatto. E la temperatura di cottura deve essere sempre al di sopra della fascia termica.
Because it always has to be above the minimum of 200 and the data that we gave at the beginning.
No, la temperatura del cibo deve essere sempre superiore a quella
120.
minima della cottura, quella a vuoto.
Sì.
Sempre minima della cottura per l'alimento che si sta considerando.
Okay, yes. The temperature of the food has to be above the minimum temperature that is recommended for that kind of food. So it depends on the food you are cooking.
In generale,
if it's
però,
meat or it's fish.
In generale, però, la soglia di sicurezza sia sempre fra gli 85 e i 100 gradi Celsius.
Che non so cosa sono Fahrenheit.
Adesso te lo dico.
Usually the minimum range is between 85 and 100 Celsius degrees. So it should be at around 185 Fahrenheit degrees and 212.
Temperatura del cibo, eh?
Yes, food temperature.
Great, thank you for that, and good that you're thinking about safety issues over there in Las Vegas, as we all should. I remember the first time I solar cooked, and I almost didn't believe that the pot would be too hot to handle, and I actually touched it without an oven mitt, and I learned very quickly that that's not the case. But I just want to thank all of you for attending and participating, and especially Matteo and Pamela, of course, for being with us today and for answering questions and sharing your amazing design and work with us. It's been really inspiring for me, and I think for all of us here today. So I think we'll stop recording now, and unless you want to say some final